Well, we have a few people here, and it is 12:01 in California here where I am, so that means it is time to start. I hate to start late because your time is important and precious. And if anybody wants to catch up, they can always view it later on. So let's get started. I'm going to go back to my first slide here. Technology, Thanksgiving, or Angst-Giving. So today we're talking about gratitude and fear and how we feel about technology. The word angst is actually a German word and it means more than fear. It's an unfocused, deep anxiety or dread about the state of the world or the state of humanity in general. And I think that a lot of people feel this way about technology, not just about the world. If you have concerns about the internet, I hope that you will feel free to discuss them in our chat box. So if you would locate your chat box, you're welcome to say hi, and I'm going to try to watch this and see what kind of messages I get. Before we start, I just want to take a second to do that. So there we go. Hi. Hi, Anna. How are you doing? Oh, Anna. I got to get the name right. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. Here we go. Who are we? We are Digital Responsibility. I know Carrie Rogers Whitehead personally. I really admire her so much because she is totally dedicated to creating education and curriculum and helping people understand what technology is and what technology is not. Her stuff is research based and it's very holistic. Now, today we're going to address some serious topics, so I don't want it to sound negative, but I also do understand that the internet and technology is a tool. In fact, I believe it's the most powerful tool that we have today. And as a tool, it can be used to accomplish something, or it can be abused, or it can be intentionally misused or just accidentally misused, and that is the problem, is that we get some of that. So obviously we're talking about how do we stop any abuse or accidental misuse. Gonna have to. Oh, hi from Pittsburgh, Carol. Hey, that's great. Hey, you're on the other coast. Okay, a little bit about me. I enjoy all these things. I have a lot of likes. As a matter of fact, I have a craft right here. But I like rough camping, and people think I'm crazy because it's dirty. It's primitive. We take a tent, we dig a latrine, we set up everything, propane stove, charcoal, whatever we're cooking on. We tarp up because it usually rains, it seems like. But the peace and the beauty up there is well worth the time. And when I come back, the interesting thing is I not only feel rested because I've been out in nature, and were you able to see the video here? If I start it, you can't, I don't know if it's going to play, but there's a little chipmunk coming right up my leg there to eat sunflower seeds right out of my hand. And that's amazing. The smell of the pines. I feel intensely gratitude for nature. But when I get back and I take that hot shower and I use the microwave and I get back on my computer and see what's going on in the world, I feel grateful for technology. So it's kind of a cool thing. It works both ways. I'd like to know about you. We have a little poll up there if you would find that and put the number in there of what you see your role as far as this webinar is concerned. You might be just tuning in as a parent. You might be taking this as a training. You might be seeing what's going on. This might be something new. You might be a student. I don't know. I don't know what other is. You'll have to tell me that. I wish we could be here in person. I really do. Oh, we have a lot of teachers. That's great. Okay, other. Okay. I don't know if you want to tell me what other is. Um, we'll see. I'll find out. But the point is that I wanna know you a little bit better. So coming from a teacher standpoint, it's a little bit different from well, it's a lot different from being a parent. You're parenting children without all of the perks of parenting. And I get that. I am a parenting grandparent most of the time, and that also has some different things with it. But I hope we can share some thoughts and ideas today. I'd like to be interactive with this as much as possible. It's a little bit challenging in this format. I'd much rather be live, but we can't do that. So here we go. I love technology. I'm going to admit it right now. When I think about Stephen Hawking and his brilliant mind and how we could not have gotten his thoughts and his discoveries without technology, I really am so glad that we have this. We have a rover on Mars for crying out loud. We have all this medical stuff. We're helping people a lot through technology, but that's how it's being used for good. So I would like to point out at this point that if you're going to drive a car, that you have to have everything on the left side to get a driver's license. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration tells us that last year alone, more than 42,000 people across the United States died in traffic accidents. I don't hear anybody wishing to go back to a day when we didn't have cars. But I've heard parents say that they wish the internet had never been invented. According to a Pew Research poll, children in the US get their first smartphone at age 11. Now, that is a smartphone, folks. That's internet ready. So I think that being safe online certainly takes as much training as driving a car. And we are here to educate children. And that's what I do when I go into the classroom and teach. I actually do have a teaching degree, an elementary ed degree. And we teach about digital citizenship and how to drive that cell phone. Now, one wise parent told me that you never should give a cell phone or a tablet as a gift because gifts come without strings. We have to be able to set the guidelines for the technology that children have, whether it's in the class or at home. And that includes parents knowing or guardians knowing a child's passwords, setting limits on time. Let's talk about what driver's education looks like. And I wish every parent would understand the importance of parenting technology. Too many times it's an easy babysitter. I have listed 8 of what I consider digital road hazards. And I would like you in the chat to please list the 3 that are most of concern to you. So you can just put the numbers, whatever it is. I have personally encountered every single one of these, and I would imagine most, if not all of you, have as well. I'm going to put my top 3 out there. Okay, Cheryl, welcome. You've got cyberbullies and trolls, definitely a problem. Gaming and social media use. Okay, good. My choices are pornography, scammers and hackers, and privacy and tracking issues. So they're going to reflect where we're kind of at right now. Anybody else have their top 3? Or are you still trying to decide? It can be kind of hard. Okay, cyberbullies, predators, and tracking issues. Good to know. All of these are concerns. And as we go on, I'll tell you why I chose the 3 that I did. What training do we need? That's the question. How do we teach it wisely and safely? Well, we have to be willing to do some learning, and Digital Responsibility does have a lot of great things on their website. So let's go to inappropriate content. I have seen a study that says that 64 to 80% of teens, and I believe it was 14 and up, have viewed online pornography. Now, sadly, the problem with pornography is that it does not represent a loving, normal picture of relationships. It's all about in the moment desires. Parents need to have conversations about the feelings that children have. We all are sexual beings because we're human, and children are developing that, and they need to understand the feelings in order to understand what to do with those feelings and what's appropriate to do with those feelings. And if they encounter something, what do? You can work with your child with the value system that you have. And I know teachers, this can be a little bit more tricky for you in school, but as a parent, I would have that conversation about what's appropriate to look at and talk about the people in these situations. This is somebody's daughter. This is somebody's sister. And I would hate to see somebody in my family out there participating in this kind of thing, which I feel is they lose a certain amount of dignity. So, what we recommend to parents and to adults is to have the child remember the first thing you do when you see something that is scary, upsetting, weird, whatever it is, it could be something other than pornography, that they leave the screen, ask an adult, say something until they get somebody's attention, and think. So the child is not supposed to turn off the computer. They can turn the screen off if they know how to, or they can leave the screen and turn it away so they're not seeing it. And then they go grab the adult. Now, sometimes we as adults are busy, and because children often don't articulate things very well, we might need to practice listening a little bit better so that we can see when there is a need and go help them. We also want them to think about how they got to that website, because traditional, regular websites do not want pornography or inappropriate content on their sites, and they will take it down quickly if somebody's hacked in and placed it there, but they need to know. And my son wanted to get information for a school report on the White House, and he put .com at the end of the URL instead of .gov, and that is a pornography site. And that was actually my first encounter with online pornographer, was some years ago. But it's out there. A lot of children do need counseling. If they see something, they need help to work through what they saw and to try to understand it. A lot of kids get a lot more savvy about personal relationships early on. That's okay. When they're ready, they will ask you, right? But you can always bring it up as a parent and say, do you understand about safe touches? Go have that conversation about what is a safe touch and what is an unsafe touch. All right, scams. These are actually screenshots from my phone. And I get these texts. I just got one today, this morning, another one that I have Oprah's big winner or something. It's crazy. These are coming in constantly, and I ask the kids when I teach about the one from Costco. I say, "Now wait a second. Okay, you got this Costco thing. How do you check and see if you've really won this big TV?" And I was surprised that more kids didn't say, "Well, I would call Costco. I would check with them." And we need to be thinking outside the box. If there's any question about whether something is a scam or is not a scam, check it independently. Scams are one of my big concerns because so many people are taken in. And they're big business. Medical scams are big business as well. There was a 5-year-old who had his medical history stolen, and the scammer used all of the information, broke into the doctor's computer network and got the information and were filing claims that were false. So this has created a world of hurt for this poor family and this child when he needs medical care to prove that this is really this child. These people are hard to find. That's why they're a big concern for me. And once they have your information, they sell it to other scammers. So it's out there. That's very frustrating. And I'd like to see them all just squashed, and really gotten off out of our lives. But according to CNBC, if you think that this isn't a problem, last year alone, phone scams, and this is only phone scams, this is not just, people who are like texting and emailing, this is phone, was $29.8 billion dollars billion that was lost in phone scams alone. That's horrific. I recommend that you get on your phone and you block list everything that comes in like this. I'd like you to do this little poll really quick for me if you wouldn't mind. If you know how to block list, would you put a 1 if you're not sure how to block list, if you've never had to do it? Would you put a 2 in your poll here? And let's see what we come up with. I didn't know how to do it until I started getting these texts, but I found that mine was very easy. It's just you go into the text. I don't click on the link. Okay, so if you're not sure, if you go into your text, you will see some 3 dots for your menu. If you pull it open, there will usually be a block or a block list in there. The great thing, and this is what I always say about technology, is you can learn about technology by using technology. I can Google my phone. I Googled it this morning because I got a new phone. I was having some trouble with some of the settings and it popped up. This is how you use it. I learned some new things. So you can always get on and ask, how do I block list? And then you put in your type of phone and you'll get a video. I'm almost sure. My phone has 25. Oh, I'm sorry. We have some unstable internet going on. Okay, Rosemary, there will be a recording of this later on. So it looks like, yeah, if you're not sure about blocklisting, find out how to do it so that these people can't bother you again from the same number. It doesn't do any good just to delete the message because they still have your number and they still will send you more stuff. All right. So we talked about that. We kind of beat that one into the carpet. Let's go on. If you have a bigger phone scam and somebody is calling you or they're sending emails and they are posing as the IRS, they're posing as your credit union or bank or financial institution or as some other official business, you can report this and you really should. You can just Google Department of Treasury scams and you will get their website. You can put all the information in. It's helping them. The more information they get is a puzzle piece to stop these scammers. And scammers are really good. They use urgency and they use emotion. You need to take care of this now. They don't want you to be thinking rationally, so they're always trying to keep you on your back of your heels, off balance. They will try different ways of doing this. They'll try to be trustworthy. They'll butter you up. I used to play Words with Friends, and I had all these creepers coming out of the woodwork going, "Hey, baby," because romantic scams are a problem too. They might tell you that you have a computer problem and you need to get on and you need to fix it with them. And that's almost always a scam. They might scare you. You are about to be arrested. The IRS wants to know your information to check because somebody has been doing this on your account or you haven't paid your back taxes. So it's always high emotion. So we have to back away from that and go, wait a second. What's really going on here? You have the time to talk. Don't let them control the conversation. You can hang up and call the IRS, call whoever it is, and say, I would like to check this independently. If you start questioning them, one of them called me and said my car was out of warranty and had some issues and they needed my information about my vehicle. And I said, "Well, tell me which vehicle you're talking about." And he said, "No, you have to tell me." And I said, "Well, you called me." And at that point, he hung up. So you can do that. And same thing, block the numbers of callers that are doing this way, doing these kinds of things. Sorry, Rosemary. We're having some problems. Yeah. Okay. I didn't put that in the chat. And yes, I should have put that there is a replay of this webinar after it ends. So you can get back on. I'm sorry about that. All right, another poll. Let's do this. How knowledgeable do you feel about using internet tools? Can you get in and see your browser history, see where you've been online? Can you see the cookie settings for the websites that you use? Can you see how high your security is set? So let's see where that's going to go. If I had a drum, I'd roll it. Oh, we got a lot of comfortable 100%. That's awesome. That's awesome. A lot of kids don't get into this part of it because they're not into the security, because we as parents or as the school, we set the limits. But it's important for kids eventually, especially as they age out, to know what they can do with their computer, how they can dump their cookies if they don't want somebody to see them, because the IP address of each computer that is out there is like a fingerprint, and it identifies your computer. And it saves in little strings of text, not dangerous. These are not dangerous, but it has little strings of text that will have you, it will tell the computer and the program what your preferences were on that website. It makes your browsing easier. But if you don't want anybody to see that, you can go out and dump your cookies. Of course, the next time you get onto a website, you'll have to log back in, which can be kind of a pain. All right. So if you guys all know this, so I can skip this slide right here where the settings bar is. Let's talk about protection for computers, and hopefully you all have good protection on your computer. My son just had a friend who had his computer completely hacked into and taken over. And he has to pay $500 to get his computer back online. And the guy is telling him, "Oh, I don't really mean you any harm. You just left it open." Um, Pretty incredible. But hackers are different from scammers in that they don't want you to know they're there. And so you have to have a good firewall and a good antivirus and malware program. Malware is looking for key signs that something new is coming up, some new virus that they don't know about. There are old viruses out there that the antivirus programs can squash pretty quickly, but people are always making new ones. Now, I always think of this like a good English butler. Your firewall is a good English butler. He stands there, he guards the door, he keeps the riffraff out, and he checks the departing guests to make sure they haven't nicked the good silverware, right? So, a firewall is checking incoming traffic and outgoing traffic. An antivirus program is the chaperone going around making sure there's no hanky panky in the potted plants over in the corner. So these are important. A virtual private network is great, but you normally have to pay for those a subscription. But if you really want a private network, you can delete all your cookies, sign up for a VPN, and get on, and people won't see out there on the web. No website can know your IP, your internet address. So a VPN is optional, but the other two are really not. Hopefully you have good programs. Okay, moving on. Passwords. I was listening to a book by this Mr. Abagnale. His first name, I'm drawing a blank on it right now. But he was a scammer from the time he was 16 years old. He even scammed his way into the co-pilot seat of a Pan Am jet because he got a suit and he got some decals and put them on a name tag. And luckily, he didn't have to fly the plane. But this guy was a scammer extraordinaire, and he now helps the U.S. government about scammers. And he talked about passwords. And so these kinds of things that only you know are very helpful. Phrases like you could put, "I can't drive 55," and then the hint would be speed limit. so that you would remember, "Oh, yeah, that was a song about a speed limit." You can use experiences that are unique to you, such as scuba in Aruba in 1999, if you did that in 1999, or odd words like carburetor if you're a car guy. Um, and then you could put a hint about that. Use a 0 in place of the O and a 3 in place of the E. Use special characters. That makes it harder. The longer it is, the more combinations a hacker has to have. Having a message sent to your phone in a two-step verification is the best. That's the best thing you can do. Even thumbprints, facial recognition is broken down into binary code that is saved on your device, and it can be hacked. It can be stolen and used. But it is unlikely that a hacker would have your computer and your phone at the same time. So that is just where we're going with passwords. Try to keep them safe, try to change them, of course, on a regular basis. That can be hard. That can really be hard to do. And, if you're like me and you have 30 plus passwords, it gets a little bit crazy, but especially the ones that are critical, your banking, uh, things like that, where you just don't want to have that password out there floating just in case somebody gets a hold of it and you don't want to use it for other things because once they've got that, they're in. Gambling, online gambling. How do gambling sites hook people? Well, I think they're as annoying as all get out. They have flashing lights, they have all this crazy sound, they have everything. The screen is just shaking like this, and it's going bigger and smaller, and ding, 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 ding. But for some people, this is very interesting. It's novel, it's crazy. They want to get in and try it. Now, gambling sites will get you with good odds. That's what they do. And you'll win and win and win for free. And then you think, yeah, I'm so good at this. I'm going to make some money. So that's the next thing they try then is they get you to get that credit card and play for money. And then the odds have changed, of course, and that's the end of it. You won't see any money. The house will give a little bit back just to keep you hooked, but it's not a way to get rich. Just like going to Vegas and gambling, you wonder about this huge pot right now for the lottery. Where did all that money come from that's in there? That's out of the pockets of everyday Americans. And the chance of winning that is like getting struck by lightning. It's more actually, you can get struck by lightning easier than you can win at a lottery. Kids need to understand that as well. These are all things that we talk about. Now, gaming is controversial because there's no absolute wrong or right answer. The whole point of it is don't just let a kid get on and do what they want. And that is unfortunately what busy parents sometimes do is it keeps the child out of their way and quiet. So that's fine. Go game in the corner. And this is especially bad for little kids. Little children need human interaction, especially babies. Not that they can game, but babies' brains are developing and pruning neurons. And they cannot translate what's on a screen to understanding. They actually have to have a human being talking to them. So I'm curious, how many hours a week do you think is appropriate for a child to game? Would you say 1 hour a week? 5 hours a week? What do you think? I know with my grandchildren, um, I don't like them to have more than about 30 minutes at a time. And we usually have other things going on here. So they might spend 2 hours a week. Um, so in your chat, if you have an opinion on that, I'd be interested to know what you think is okay. I remember watching the kids in the library when I worked as a librarian, and they would come in and they would game. And after about 2 hours of playing these really exciting games together in groups and playing against each other, they could not keep still. They would just lose it, and we would say, "Guys, this is a public computer area." I know now libraries have gaming rooms, but I'm not so sure that that's healthy all the time either. But you've got these kids and they can't control themselves. So kids need to be taught where their own limits are. If you have a child who is gaming for quite a while, you can say to them, "Okay, now how do you feel right now? Do you feel like you're jumpy, frustrated?" Have them sit for a minute quietly without the game in their hands and have them meditate and compare the meditation feeling when they're at peace and when they're focusing on their breathing. You can listen to something. They've got meditations on YouTube that are short for kids, and then have them tell you the difference in how they're feeling. Because there should be a difference because games are exciting. They get our chemicals going in our brain. Okay, 2 to 3 hours a week, Carol. Thank you. That's kind of where I'm at, but this is a very individual thing. If you've got a child who is trying to create games and this might be something that they're going to pursue, you may alter this a little bit. It's going to be altered according to their age. But what is important is that intentional guidelines are set, or getting on gaming should be a reward. You've now got your homework done, you've got your chores done. That's a great way to use it. If you have any other ideas on right ways to use games, you can use learning games too. Those are great to be able to teach children if they have to solve a times table or a division problem to move on. That's a great game, right? Because they're actually learning. Now, privacy is a big issue to me because websites collect information about us. Most of the time now you get on and you get the cookie pop up, and it's easy to just go accept all the cookies. But I like to scroll down and I turn off the advertising cookies. The reason for this is we get in a bubble from websites. They make 70 to 75% of their money from advertising. Did you know that? So they're going to try to focus their advertising on what we as consumers like and will buy. And you'll notice this, I think you've all noticed this, that you're out on Google and you're looking for the cost of a new refrigerator, and then you log in to a site like Amazon or some other shopping site, and all of a sudden ads for refrigerators start popping up because they share information across platforms. And I don't like to give any website the ability to send me notifications unless I really like it because it clogs up my inbox. And I also don't like to allow them to have information about me. I'm just not comfortable with that. I don't like it being sold. I can't control it once it's out there. It's like a genie. Once it's out of the bottle, it's out of the bottle. And we don't know how websites use algorithms. They have these algorithms. An algorithm is just a way of doing things. It's a process that gives a logical outcome. Following a recipe is an algorithm. Putting together a bike that you got for your kid for Christmas. The instructions are an algorithm, and they have these instructions that look at where we're going and they target our ads and our possible things to read, things of interest. They target them to what we have been looking for. This creates a loop that comes back so that if you are constantly looking up something, it's going to come back more and more with the ads on it to try to get you. It's always good to vary and this is where a VPN comes in handy, but it's always good to vary what you're looking for. I like to look for a lot of learning things. It's pretty funny. I'll look for, cirrus clouds. What are cirrus clouds? And then I get a pop-up that says buy cirrus clouds. So you can tell they're using this kind of stuff. I don't know how my information is being used, and I don't like that. And you can, if you feel like your information is not being used properly, then you can write the website that you think has a problem. We do have to have the power for this because how did how did my phone number get out there so that people could text me, scammers could text me? Where did that come from? Good question, huh? I don't know. But there are bots that are online and they are constantly checking algorithms. And if I can get to this a little bit later, I'd like to talk more. I've seen some very deep and interesting things on TED Talks and on YouTube about technology and what it can do. The question is why do we have aggression out online? People, a lot of them feel like they have to make their values known. And that's important. In this world, we're busy, we're running back and forth. The old time sense of community where people connected person to person is changing and it's going over the internet and the new generation is adjusting to that. But there is still in a lot of people, if they don't feel connected online, they have problems with this. So they experience negative things. They don't feel validated. And so you have to kind of know where your negativity level is. And if you're getting negative online, it's good to avoid. And you can go beyond criticism into negativity. That's really important to know yourself. The answer is not to avoid all negative content and interactions, but to save them if possible. If you have somebody who's being extremely negative, then you need to look at them later when you're feeling a little bit more calm. Getting out on the internet is usually not the best time to do it because we tend to be shooting from the hip, right? Answer right back. So, getting on social media to calm down or reading something online may not be the best way to calm down. So, let's talk about the big problems that we have online with this kind of thing, and that is cyberbullies and trolls. Cyberbullies are anonymous, and that's what can make them so bad if they don't tell you, if you don't know who they are, but you can block that person if they take a screen name and an avatar. You can always block them. But bullies generally are not very brave people. They may bully because they're just angry with the world and they want to take it out on somebody. They might be lonely. They might be bored. A lot of bullies are kids who are online and they don't have any kind of limits. They are on the computer with no supervision and they turn to bullying. Bullying in might be illegal in your state. You can check this. If it's on school property, done with school computers, or on a school trip, something school sponsored, a lot of times state law will kick in and they have to be able to get involved. Legally, they have to get involved and help with the bullying. But you can block a bully. You can report them if they are bullying you on a site, and sometimes their account can be taken down. There are a lot of reasons for bullying, and that's the problem. And there can even be mental abuse or physical abuse or mental illness. So we do have to try to be kind. I think it's always good to say to the bully, "This is really hurtful. Why are you doing this to me?" Try to help them see you as a person. "I really don't want to do this with you. I'm not sure why you're doing this." And then if they don't stop, then you have to go further. Now, trolls are a different thing. Trolls are intentional. I ran into a troll on Reddit and it was really a negative experience for me. It upset me for a couple of days. I thought about it. I wanted to reach through my computer and just shake these guys who were just coming down on me hard and calling me names and "you're stupid for asking this and thinking this." About all you can do is block them or report them because they are entertained by you getting upset. I hope that helped you. Do you have any comments or anything you want to say about cyberbullies or intentional bullying? Practicing kindness in the classroom is always good. One thing I do with my grandchildren, I don't just make them say, "I'm sorry," if they did something mean, like hitting or being physical in particular, or saying something rude. They have to say, I'm sorry for, and they have to name what they did. And they have to look the person in the eye that they hurt. That makes them recognize that person as a human being, a fellow human being. If you look somebody in the eye, you can't ignore the fact that they're human. And that goes, I know that personally. I worked as a nurse, I worked as an ambulance tech. I dealt with some people who were pretty nasty. And thanks, Carol. I just feel like once you look somebody in the eye and you connect with them, they are no longer a statistic or a group or a label. They become very human. All right. Technology, when used well, social media, here we go. A lot of bullying does occur on social media or any app where you can talk back and forth through chats. But a lot of people can be a great outlet for talking to people. I know my brother is pretty much homebound and he gets out on Facebook. He's not tech savvy, really, other than Facebook, but he gets out there and he does make contact with old high school buddies, and it really helps him. He'll talk to me and tell me what was shared. And I think about social media at the turn of the century, there was a big controversy about electricity. Was AC too dangerous? Was DC the way to go? And you had different schools of thought, and there were even horrible experiments done on like an elephant to see if to show supposedly how bad AC power was. And yet we have AC power now and we take it for granted, and it has been taken for granted for decades. Electricity is no big deal. It's just in the air. It's what we breathe. Our current technology is similar. I think we're still in a learning phase because this is such a complex thing that we have that we're dealing with, that we have to sort out all of these different things. And technology is constantly changing. The ways that technology functions is becoming more seamless. We're getting better cameras, better ability to record ourselves and upload it and share it. And that is creating, in some instance, a lot of good things, a lot of positive things. It allows people around the world to collaborate, to teach, to entertain, to connect. And that's amazing. And that is why I love technology. I was sitting at the dinner table and one of the kids said, how come they call them hot dogs? And I said, I don't know, but I can look it up. Pulled out my cell phone. If you want to know, you can look it up. I'm not going to tell you. Okay, so tech is amazing. And I just want to show you this right here. I just got on YouTube. I wanted to learn how to make an old fashioned braided rug. There it is. I use recipes online. I can see the ratings. I video call my daughter in Maine and talk with her husband and her kids. I'm so glad that technology is there to be used. There is such a benefit to it. And we communicate as a family on Facebook Messenger, and I communicate with my grandkids on Facebook Messenger. I love it. I think of the people who came to America in the 1700s or whenever, before all this technology, and they never saw their families again. They would just leave and that was it, not even a good mail service. But I would like to know, what do you consider the most important factors of being a successful parent or teacher? I would like you to just put this in the chat. I think for me, it is to understand that kids need guidance. A lot of times kids are put on a pedestal. People talk about learning so much from children. Yes, we can learn from children. But years ago, it was the older people with all the experience who imparted their knowledge to children. And now technology has changed that. Children can pick up text, their brains are very flexible, they can learn it very quickly. And so a lot of times they can teach us. Now, that's okay. Sit down and have a child teach you about technology. Ask your child, what do you know about this? Tell me what you've learned. Okay, open communication. Absolutely. I would say I 100% agree that is number one. And that has to be built on trust. So that can be hard because when a child tells you, we went over to so and so's house and got on this game and this is what we did, and that you just go, you got to just put on the stone face and say, really? Tell me about that. How did you feel? What did you do? What did you choose to do? Would you do it the same way again? Or would you do it differently? Do you feel like you had pressure from your friend? Ask questions. Communicate, communicate. My son is a marriage and family therapy counselor. He says asking questions is the best way to get people to think about things. And Carol says, make sure you model good use of technology, Cheryl, using it together. Yes, yes. Why not get online with the child and play a game together? That's absolutely fabulous. I've played Among Us with my 9-year-old granddaughter, who absolutely was so into that last year. She breathed it. She drew pictures, these horrible pictures of these Among Us characters with creepy, But that was her thing. And it deepened our relationship to do that. But yes, modeling is one of, on our website, we talk about the 3 M's of technology. And the first one is model. If you don't want your kids on the cell phone all the time or in their face in their tablet and ignoring you, put your cell phone and tablet down too. Dinner time, no tech at the table. Coming in for a family chat, family dinner, no tech at the table. Lay the ground rules and point out the positive with technology. Point out the positive things of I'm really proud of you for your child. What I'm really proud of you. I feel like you made a good choice with this. Now, kids are going to run into negative stuff, but a lot of times negative things can be a teacher, right? I have learned more from the bad things that have happened to me and the difficult things in my life. So you can always talk with your child if they have had a bad experience with pornography, with gambling, with a cyberbully. You can say, man, I think you know now how it feels to be bullied, and I think you will be kinder to other kids. Do you feel like you can be kinder because of what you have experienced? You can always turn something from a negative to a positive by talking about what you learn. This is another thing that I learned about tech, and I love this. You can be of service. There are websites that will match you with opportunities right in your own community, and there are all kinds of them. You can observe wildlife. You can go out and count how many ducks are in the pond at this place and come back and report it. You can count craters on the moon, for crying out loud. There are all kinds of things. This is a powerful tool to be able to find service opportunities. And so all of these things, the open communication, the using it together, make sure that we're modeling it, goes along with all of this. If we show our kids that we serve other people using technology, that we are creators on our technology, that is golden for them to see that we're not just sitting as a couch potato and just waiting for something to happen, but that we are posting something that we feel strongly about, or posting something positive to other people, or finding a service opportunity, or helping with a project. Technology just has a bazillion things. And all I can say is go out and Google them. They've even got them for kids. If you want to try, you teachers, if you want to try a classroom project, National Geographic and a couple of other sites actually have activities that you can complete. And it goes down to about 3rd grade. The kids can be pretty young. So if that's something you might want to try, go out and Google service opportunities for classrooms, 3rd grade or whatever. You'll find it. Right. Do you have any questions or comments? If you have anything you would like to discuss, we have about 6 or 7 minutes before we're done. And so I would like to know if you have a question, something you're thinking about, something you feel didn't get answered, because heaven knows I am, my brain wanders a lot and I have to watch it. I always have to try to keep it on a leash, but it always slips the leash and goes off in the weeds. So Hmm. I'm trying to think if I missed anything. You be the judge. If you have any other feedback and you don't care to put it in the chat about these webinars, um, go ahead and email contact@responsability.net. We can't do better unless we know where we are not doing better. You can also look at the parenting things that we have on our website. There are some wonderful ideas, and Carrie is taking this further and further. She is trying to go nationwide with things online that are research based because let's face it, there are a lot of websites out there that want to scare you to death about technology. And this helps to create that negative attitude that technology is bad, that I can't use technology, I don't want it in my home. The simple truth is this technology is here to stay. Kids are growing up with it. It's normal for them. So we have to catch up as adults. Okay, challenge as a teacher is when the cyberbullying is done outside of school time and carries over into school. That would be something where I think the parents and the child would have to go and do something. You may have a child that has a real problem and they may need to actually be confronted about this. If you know the identity of the child, and there are a lot of great websites that talk about cyberbullying and they will take you down through the steps of where you need to go and what you need to do as the next step because cyber bullies can be really nasty. Okay, how to get busy parents to buy into more responsible habits. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I think if a truly caring parent, and certainly I know because I spend enough time in the schools, I know that there are parents out there who don't care. They will actually facilitate cheating, facilitate doing children's homework assignments for them. It's really frustrating. But if you have a parent that truly cares, you can talk to them about ask them how important do you feel is it for your child to learn responsible habits, and there might be some suggestions, but again questioning them. Have you found anything that helps you? If they say, I just don't know how to do this, I would have some things ready and say, how do you feel like I can help you as a teacher to help your child to get their homework done or to do the things they need to do? I know with me, it can be chaos here. I have children, grandchildren here, 4 of them that we watch every other week, and these children are 9, 6, 5, or 7, 9, 7, 5, and 3. And the second one has some emotional issues. The fourth one is autistic. So sometimes it is just a giant nightmare. It really is, especially coming and going back and forth in the situation they're in. So I have to try to be a responsible parent. You can have them make a chart. Our kids have a chart of check off. This is what I do at night. This is my homework is done. And then if they get a check off on that chart, I hate to give too many rewards, but they have to work the whole week to do this. And they have to work hard to do it. That they can go to the dollar store and get something. So a reward system was always helpful. Make it easy, make it something that a busy parent can do. That's about the best way. I also sometimes just sit down with my grandkids and I say, this is why it's important. And I will sometimes point this out if they can't find their glasses or something. I will say, this is why. Is this why I tell you that it's important to put them in the same place every time? Because I think kids are just as senile as old people. They will leave their coat at school on a cold day. They leave their glasses. They really do misplace things a lot, and it's a learning thing. And I think too, we just have to understand that it is a learning curve that parents just don't give up. Try to find ways that work in your home to motivate your children. And it might be something as easy as a special dessert. Make it easy. Go out and play ball. Doesn't have to be something that is really time consuming, but just have something fun that is a reward for them. And kids respond to that. And if you listen to them, take their ideas. What would you like to do? Put them into a can and draw one out. Uh, I hope that helps because, yes, busy parents, two parent working families, it makes it really hard. All right, my time is about up. Again, I think you can find a lot of good resources sources online from teaching places about helping busy parents because you have to tailor it to what their needs are. Everybody's going to have an individual need. I'm going to go ahead and end this webinar. I thank you so much for being here. I will just quickly show you that next time we have this webinar coming up by Pam. She's great. So that'll be the next webinar coming. And that will be December 13th at the same time. And these are some of the references that I used today. I hope y'all have a great time wherever you are. Make life good, enjoy that tech, and teach it well. Thanks so much.